did.
Oh, yeah.
And it happened for a long time. You know, it was like slow motion.
It's almost like we've been there before.
It
Feels like it's
we've been
still
there
happening.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Losers Lounge.
Womp womp. Womp womp.
Not just any Losers Lounge, a Toyota Losers Lounge, driven by your Front Range Toyota stores. Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR. The Nuggets fall 115-70. You might call it a butt whooping tonight.
You could.
I'd call it an ass whooping.
I might call it an ass whooping.
better.
If
I'm
you're
not
a little
afraid
more,
to say it.
A little more vulgar than myself. This one was close for roughly 5 minutes. It was actually a blowout for the Nuggets direction for like 30 seconds. And then it was a blowout for the Wolves. We're going to have to break it all down. I got Brennan Vogt in the house. You didn't say a word on the watch-along, by the way. Did you notice this?
Yeah.
Not a word.
I don't know about you guys. I've had more fun watching basketball. I've had more fun, but we suffer together, don't we? And we've still got a show to do. I'll say some words here.
You know what's funny is this is the second time this series. Not as painful as the first one, you know, in some ways. So there you go. D-Line's in the house.
That's right, guys. Luckily for me, as I've mentioned before, I died so long ago. And I've been animated off of some sort of mixture of caffeine, arrogance,
a lot of that,
and candy. And, you know, every now and again, when things don't go well, I just revert back to the fact that I've died. So it's fine.
There you go. Get this man some candy. And then the handsome one, Harrison Wind.
Well, after game 2, we were questioning our entire existence.
That's right.
That's true. I'm not going to do that
We
tonight.
were questioning our Lord and Savior.
Yeah.
At least tonight we have a game 7.
We do have a Game 7, and it's actually exciting. There's something to it. It feels like this series needs a Game 7. It feels like the Nuggets deserve a Game 7 as opposed to winning in 6.
Yeah.
So, in many ways, it feels like the Denver Nuggets are getting exactly what they deserve. We're going to get to the fast breakdown, but first, we are presented, as always, by Bet365. Never ordinary. Tonight, we lost all of our money.
That was a
nice
little
silver
more
lining.
ordinary than maybe.
Tonight, not a good night for gambling. When you bet on the Nuggets and the Nuggets score 70 total points, you probably missed all your bets.
I mean, we're not ashamed to say it.
We're not ashamed
We lost
to say
all
it.
our money
Hey,
tonight.
everybody's been
We're
there.
broke.
Gonna hit you right home. Let's do a
broke,
fast
we're
breakdown.
broken.
I promise you it'll be fast and painless. Here's one for you guys. The first line always tells the story.
It always does.
Nuggets lose by
9-2
50.
Nuggets start. Nuggets up 9-2,
That's
baby.
what's so weird about this game,
Force a
man.
timeout. Force a timeout,
A
man.
9-2 start.
That crowd, we talked about how they'll get nervous if you can have a hot start. They did. They called a timeout. And my God, was it the worst basketball the Nuggets have played in the entire year coming out of that timeout. A 27-2 run for the Wolves. Immediately a 27-2 run. It was 31-13 at the end of one quarter. You're
The
down.
Nuggets didn't score for a good 6 minutes in the first quarter.
We're going to get to reasons why here in a little bit, but that really was the game. The rest of it was just playing out the string. Jokic started the second quarter, clearly not giving up on this. Like, hey, Jokic might go 48 minutes tonight if the game calls for it. Nuggets made a run despite not making wide open shots. Tonight was a rough shooting night for the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah.
Just 19% from three, and they had decent looks.
Yeah.
The Nuggets cut it to all the way down to 11. Jokic checks out, and it went up to 19. And 2 shakes of a lamb's tail.
Yep.
It was 59-40 Wolves. We go to the third quarter. Awful start to the. You go to the halftime and you go, okay, the energy can flip. If you come out to the half, the energy can flip. If you
How
just
many
go.
times in your modern NBA career? Oh, they cut it to under 20 at the half?
And it feels good.
Still a game.
Yeah, it
Didn't they
feels
like
good.
turn it over the first play of the third quarter?
The very first play, and it was on like a handoff to Murray from Jokic.
I'm pretty sure after every timeout, every like full stoppage in play where the Nuggets
Yeah.
could draw up their next play,
Yeah.
it was a turnover.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrible.
That's what it felt like.
Anthony Edwards took a really hard fall in that third quarter. I mean, the game was over, honestly. Even if Ant were to have gone out at that point, you felt like the game was over. But he took a really hard fall. Looked like it was on his tailbone. He stayed down for a long time. Ended up getting up, staying in the game, and playing great. So we'll see what that is about. But the Nuggets were ice cold, even in that third quarter, and it was 86-61 Timberwolves. First possession of the fourth quarter is the one I'm talking about. Murray, handoff, dribbles it out, like fumbles it, kicks it out of bounds. And you're thinking, my God, even down 30, coming off of a rest, coming off of a timeout, you can't even enter the ball. It just goes out of bounds. Eerily reminiscent of Game 2, I hate to say it, but this is exactly what it was like. The pressure was applied, Denver did not handle it well, and made nothing. All right, that's the recap. It was a blowout. It was the biggest, in a series that was all about huge blowouts, somehow this was the biggest one yet. Win, what's your big takeaway? Presented by Red Hawk Roofing.
Do I have to?
You do, actually.
By the way, we can now call it seeing an osprey on the way in. Terrible side.
Terrible.
Oh,
Horrible
God.
side. I hope I never see one again.
Those Ospreys. My big takeaway tonight was Jamal Murray sucked. 10 points, 4 of 18 shooting. And we've seen these games a lot from Jamal Murray in the playoffs. And the mystique of playoff Murray is gone. The lure of, bubble Murray, this guy who's able to elevate himself in the postseason, is gone for now. And yes, he's got the injury, but, he just had a terrible game tonight. He was awful. He got a lot of open shots and just missed them. And that's why I'm probably not as doomer about this loss as a lot of people are. The Nuggets missed almost every three they took tonight. They went 7 of 36 from 3. Murray went 2 of 7. A lot of those threes were very good shots. Denver knew they were getting them because they knew the doubles were coming for Nikola Jokic, which they did. But as we've seen in these playoffs, the Nuggets are not the Nuggets if Jamal Murray looks like this. They're just not.
Yeah.
Nikola Jokic, he can turn in the game of his life in Game 5. But Jamal Murray played pretty well also. He played pretty decent in that game. He had an awful game tonight. He was terrible. He was bad in this one. And because of it, Denver was very bad as well.
Real quick on Jamal Murray. He shot 22% tonight. Not his worst game of the playoffs.
And the craziest thing was, usually with Murray, and this was very apparent, I thought, in games 1 and 2 of this series, those games he was not moving well at all.
Right.
He looked slow.
Yes.
He looked like he had no explosion. Tonight, I felt like he was moving pretty well. He got open shots. He got to his spots for the most part. He just missed almost everything.
More on that later, but 22%. Guys, he's got 2 games now like that. He only had one of those all of last year, but here's the thing. He's got 2 games with 37%, 2 games with 38%. Like, the 40% or above is starting to become the rarity for Murray in this playoffs, which is the real scary part. D-Line, what's your big takeaway?
My big takeaway is that nobody showed up for the Denver Nuggets. They seem to be content with this game. As soon as it got away from them early, they just really appeared to be content with the fact that they were not going to win this game. No one stepped up. The offense was terrible. It was just, there was nothing that you could look to in this game. Jokic was, like, by his standards, very passive again. And it just felt like they were fine with the idea that, all right, we're not going to win this one, guys. Let's just get through it, get back to Denver, which I hate. I hate that they did that. I hate that they played such a heartless, gutless game in what could have been such a big night for them. I still feel very confident in the Nuggets to take this series. But I hate that they have this in them, and this is kind of what they do when they see a task that looks too daunting to overcome. And maybe we'll look back and say that it's there's wisdom in that, but man, it was just so frustrating to see the effort given by Jamal Murray. And I don't even know if effort is the right word, but we'll
focus.
just say
I thought it was more focus.
Yeah, we'll just say shot making. We'll leave it at that. The shot making by Jamal, the shot making by Michael Porter Jr. They just seemed to be out of sorts right off the bat. They didn't know what they were doing. They were really trying to rely on things that had worked for them in the past that they shouldn't rely on, like Aaron Gordon threes, like Justin Holiday threes. I mean, it just was an absolute disaster class from the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah. What about you?
My big takeaway is that if this happens in Game 2, which it did, we try to figure out what it means. And if you're a Wolves fan, after the next 3 games, you're probably sitting there trying to figure out what it means. None of it means anything anymore. There's a Game 7. So, I mean, look, if the Nuggets play like that again, they're going to lose. Everyone knows that. No point in saying it out loud. But it's not, oh my God, is there any way to beat this team?
Right.
It's not. The Nuggets have to be better, and we know it. They'll get a chance to be better at Game 7 at home. And so this is not, I'm not trying to just flush like it doesn't matter. It just, that's the thing about a Game 7. You don't have to figure out any more about the matchup, man. There's going to be 4 more quarters, and the Nuggets will have to be better than they were tonight. I will say, just a point Wind was making with Jamal, which I think applies to the whole team. If you want to reach as far as you can for a silver lining, the Nuggets at least got open shots tonight. They just missed them, and you have to feel better about them hitting some of those at home. The Wolves deserve all the credit in the world. But can they hit some of these shots in a Game 7? And so what happened Game 1 through 6 doesn't matter now.
I'm going to say my big takeaway. Look, this game, the Nuggets didn't have it. And you could have a bunch of theories on this. I'll give you one. You come back from down 0-2, you win 3 in a row. You're probably using a little more energy to do that. And this looked like a game where Denver was down energy, short on all their shots, off on shots, not handling the pressure well. The more desperate team was very apparent. It's hard. This is not an excuse. Denver at this point, I thought, was locked into, okay, it's playoffs, every game matters, every possession matters. That clearly was not the case tonight.
Yeah.
Minnesota was a hungry, desperate team. They fell down 9-2. They get a timeout. They came out, foaming at the mouth, ready to go. Denver never had that sense of urgency, even as that lead was dwindling away. They never had that urgency there. So you get all of those things, kind of combining here. But last year, Denver did have a different mentality. And this is a tougher challenge. But you can't tell me that, when you say, okay, did Denver have an opponent last year as difficult as this Minnesota Timberwolves team? No. But they lost by 40. They're not 40 points better than the teams they played last year.
Yeah.
Denver had a different focus, maturity, seriousness to them. And I honestly think a lot of it just comes down to Jamal Murray. A lot of it comes down to he's such an integral part of your team. He's such an important part of setting the tone and getting things settled. And I thought tonight he came out actually pressing. And I think this is where Denver spiraled a little bit. I thought Porter and Murray both tonight were really bad. And I thought both of those guys approached the first quarter as if it was I've got to establish a rhythm here. I've got to look for my shots. I thought Mike took a couple bad ones where there were guys open. I thought Murray, trying to ISO and trying to get himself going. And it's man, if you want to get yourself going, get some stops. Denver, this series is all about maximizing possessions. That tone was set very poorly after that first timeout. And Denver, again, they're getting the series they deserve. But that, to me, is the thing that is more concerning than anything else, is you're in a closeout game. The process should not have been the thing that hurt you tonight. And I thought the process, as well as, the result and how the energy and all that stuff, but I thought the process to open the game was just off.
But I thought they had it at the beginning of this game. They were up 9-2. They forced Minnesota to call a timeout after a few minutes. It looked like they had the right mindset, intensity, focus. But then for whatever reason, when Minnesota raised it up and punched back, Denver didn't have it.
But I'm talking about the Aaron Gordon 3. They were on a 15-0 run. Aaron Gordon comes down and takes a quick 3, 20 seconds on the clock, and that's this type of stuff I'm talking about. This is a series where we've talked about momentum and how things snowball. When you're giving up a run and you go to a shot that's so clearly outside of your personality, it's it's just snowballs, man. Those things don't save you. They just hurt you more.
Yeah, and overall, it just didn't feel like the Nuggets throughout the first half, when this was actually a game, had the focus or just the concentration and just the right mindset. They were searching. Jamal Murray was pressing tonight. Aaron Gordon took a lot of shots that were uncharacteristic of shots that the Nuggets take when their offense is in a healthy rhythm. Murray also hurt his elbow early on tonight, and I wonder if that affected his shot as well, because he got a ton of open looks in this game. He had a bunch of open looks for 3. He shot 2 of 7 from 3. I'd guess 4 or 5 of those were wide open, and he just missed them. So the focus and just the overall mindset wasn't there. It wasn't enough for a team that was going to go on the road and potentially win a Game 6 in that type of environment.
Yeah, I felt like they really wanted to get Jamal going early. It seemed like that was the plan. I think that they looked at tonight this exact same way that we did, where we were well, they're not going to let Jokic do that to them again. They're going to double it.
Yeah, we got the game plan.
Yes, we did. And so, but what that means is, okay, so you're going to have to rely on the other Nuggets, and not a single other Nugget showed up. And it's so frustrating to see that. But it's not the end of the world. Obviously, I'll keep saying it. I'm very confident in the Denver Nuggets to win Game 7 at home. you hate to just, as Vogt says, like just flush a game like this. But I honestly don't think there's much to pull from this.
I agree.
Honestly, like
Yeah,
I just, it was just such a wretched performance that it wasn't like it was like, oh man, you really got to figure out how to double cat higher in the paint. So it's like. You have to make fucking shots, and you have to want it, and you have to.
And they got
show
really
up.
good
And,
shots.
Yeah, you have to, and you have to execute, and you have to, act like you give, like you care, and you
It's
feel
so
like you have to
If
win.
they play like that, they'll lose by 40
Simple,
again.
yeah, simple. I mean, like Jamal Murray was putrid. That's the worst I've seen him play in a very long time.
Well,
Since game 2.
But I mean, all things considered, like this being a what would have been a closeout game,
yeah.
and just forcing shots like that. The other like the play that comes to mind is when he went up for a layup, but
Oh
he
my God.
flipped it the other direction. Like he was supposed
Did
to be.
he hit the side of the
No,
backboard
I
on
think
that?
he passed out of it at the last second.
It seemed like he was passing it to
Yeah.
Gordon, but he did it at the rim. It was the
Yeah.
weirdest thing I've ever seen.
I'm with you.
And you just look at things like that, and you're like, wow, this team is not going to win tonight. They're just not. So fuck it. Like, let's bring
Play
in
Jalen
DeAndre
Pickett.
Jordan. Let's conserve energy here. We're not
Pretty
going to
good.
win this game. So they lost the game. It's okay. It doesn't matter. It's not cumulative points. It's first to 4 wins, and the Nuggets now are coming back to the friendly confines of Ball Arena, and they have an opportunity to answer in the same way they answered last time they got their ass kicked this badly by the Minnesota Timberwolves, which was to kick their ass even worse the next game.
Right.
So, what do you do? What do you do? It's a good team you're playing, and if you play bad, they're going to punish you. You play good, you're going to beat them. That's it.
The part I do hate, besides the fact that they lost by 40, which I do hate, is especially that the Wolves are confident now. Like this was, man, all those guys who shot 50% from 3 from the Wolves tonight, if Denver comes out and plays a different game, they could have been tight in that second half. But by the time this game was underway, it was over. And they were running away with it. And they're all feeling themselves coming back to Denver. Now it's a game 7. They're first. It could all flip real quickly. We've seen it. But you did give it's like, you say you threw him a life raft. I mean, they threw him a life yacht. They were like, dude, do you guys want some food with that?
Right.
You guys, we'll cover your fuel. It was ridiculous. So that part I hate. But again, you get to a game 7. It's a fresh start, and it doesn't matter. They got to be better. Defensively, I was surprised at how little Denver had to offer. Eventually, it got away from them, and then that happens. But out of the gate, Murray missed some shots. I also thought Murray was horrendous defensively.
Well, they're marking him. I mean,
Yeah, and Porter too. And Porter was, he got crossed up by Jaden McDaniels so badly. That guy's not that great of a offensive player, but so I just think defensively that was the biggest surprise to me, and that's the effort that needs to look so different in the first 12 minutes in Game 7.
the Timberwolves are a worthy opponent, and I'm impressed with them. I've been impressed with them all year. I've talked about, like, the Timberwolves in their history have had a lot of teams that, you kind of knew weren't good enough.
Yeah.
This team is different. Like, they absorb punches. They've giving up a 2-0 lead and falling down and then having this response. They just have a toughness and a belief that I really appreciate and respect, and that's why you're in a Game 7. But, Denver has more to offer as well. They're going to have to give that in Game 7, and it should be great. The Nuggets and the Timberwolves are going to take center stage on Sunday night. That is going to be a very highly watched Game 7, and it should be really exciting. Let's take a
Could
break.
be Sunday afternoon, by the way. I'm hearing as well.
Could be Sunday
You're
afternoon. There
hearing?
you go.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Streets are saying?
In fact, I know. Could be 1.
Is it already out?
It could be 1. Well, it depends on the Knicks game.
What time are they? All right, let's go to a break.
Why
On the
does
other
it
side, we'll
always
have the
depend
time.
on the Knicks game?
I know.
Oh, God.
It always depends on the Knicks game.
All right, let's take a break. On the other side, though, I want to get into the specifics with Jamal Murray, Michael Porter. Yeah, and I actually think there were a couple guys that were okay tonight. We'll talk about them on the other side as well.
Guys, we're here in the Toyota Lounge. I feel like I got run over by a Tundra tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Just straight to the face.
Like a Tundra towing a Tacoma.
Towing a boat.
I feel like
Towing a boat.
I feel like the Tundra took off and I was supposed to be in it, but I wasn't. I don't feel emotionally upset.
That's true, actually. I feel the same way.
It was a quick death.
No, like it's like
You
we
didn't
were
feel
supposed
it.
to go on a road trip together, and I walked out and I'm like, where the hell? You guys left without me in the Tundra?
This happened to me in my geology class one time at CC. Missed our class field trip.
Your Front Range Toyota stores are electrifying the Nuggets playoff run by providing championship-level fan experience you guys can win a brand new 2024 BZ4X, Toyota's all-electric, all-wheel drive SUV.
Oh, hell
You
yeah.
can see it on the screen right
Dude, that
there.
thing is beautiful.
That's sleek, man. You can hit that QR code to register to get into this giveaway. You can win incredible prizes, including playoff tickets, a private suite experience, a flyaway adventure to witness the Nuggets playoffs on the road, and that car. Hit that QR code there on the screen. Don't miss out on this opportunity to electrify the playoffs with your Front Range Toyota stores. Toyota, a proud partner of the Denver Nuggets and the official vehicle of DNVR.
Bet365, where it's never ordinary. I would love to say that that is not an ordinary game for the Nuggets, although it's happened twice this series. But we move. At Bet365, they don't do ordinary. They believe every sport should be epic. Right now, new customers can choose between two offers when they open an account at Bet365. Use the code DNVR365 to sign up. Deposit $10 and choose between either a bet and get offer. Place a bet of $5 or more to get $150 in bonus bets, or a first bet safety net offer by placing a bet up to $1,000. And if your qualifying bet loses, you receive a matched refund in bonus bets. There's also the NBA early payout offer. Keep your eyes peeled for that. If a team goes up by 20, you can win your bet even if they don't win the game. You have to be 21 or older and physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or somebody you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
George Karl. Honestly, whatever you think of him, hilarious.
What did he
decoro.
tweet? I gotta know what he tweeted.
He just tweeted, the world's best player and playoff Murray will show up Sunday for Game 7, 2 thumbs up. But what gift did he add? Of Jesus from
Big Lebowski? Well, who said that?
George Karl.
George Karl.
Just what made him pick that gift?
What a
Dude,
poster,
George
man.
Karl is an elite tweeter,
He's a
man.
poster at heart.
What an elite tweeter. Is he a better tweeter or head coach?
Like, why that gift?
Because it's the dance.
Yeah, I know, but it's just hilarious for that George Karl.
I agree.
Imagine Jeff Van Gundy tweeting out that gif. It's hilarious. Let's get into Murray's game, man. I really do feel like, I hate to say this, because I think the team does go as Jamal goes.
Of course they do.
And I know people will say, I think Yok's just always good. And I didn't even think he was bad tonight. You're right.
He
There
was
was a little
fine.
there were moments that were passive. But I think there was something to more him when the game was getting out of control because guys were not playing the right way. And I think there's probably something to him of, well, if I just don't play the right way to go at him, is that going to solve everything? Sometimes you need your best player to settle things down. He missed some bunnies that could have helped settle it down in those key moments. So in some ways he is lobbed in, but I by no means think this game spiked because of him. And the other guy was Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon's defense was not very impactful tonight, so you could say that's the most important thing, but I actually thought he did some stuff nicely tonight. But let's stick with Murray because the Nuggets at times look like you can't beat them. They're unstoppable, and times they look terrible, and that's the exact reflection of Murray. The pressure again. It's what's scariest the most to me is that the pressure clearly sped him up tonight. Why? Why did he solve this for 3 games and then it popped back up again?
Nobody knows. I don't know.
I think like a big factor that I hate to talk about is that the extreme physicality that was allowed on the Denver Nuggets from this officiating crew, like
Same as game 2.
Same as game 2. Like it's just, like the Nuggets are not built. The Wolves are a bigger team than the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah.
Like
Longer. Yeah.
They're just a bigger team, which, in a game like this, like really works in their favor if they're allowed to just be like have their hands on the Denver Nuggets and Jamal Murray the entire time that they're checking them and guarding them, which normally you'd call. But I mean, whatever. So that's the tone and the tenor of the game. It's just that's not going to be the case every game moving forward. We saw exactly the 2 games in the series that were officiated that way. The Nuggets got blown out.
But game 7s?
Well, game 7s, everyone gets tight, but it's not like...
You don't think they allow extra physicality in game 7?
Maybe they do, but I don't know that they allow this level. This is like a signature of this officiating crew,
Yeah. I think game 7 will be more, though, physical like games 2 and 6. I just think you don't... Refs know what it is. They let the players settle it. I don't think you're going to get a ton of tic-tac. What do you think, Harrison?
I mean, yeah, Jamal and AG were really bad tonight. And look, the Nuggets just scored 70 points. But defensively,
Yeah.
they were not locked in like they were in Game 5. No, Game 5, man, those double teams on Anthony Edwards were so on point.
Yeah.
Everybody was on a string. The rotations were perfect. The Nuggets won that game on the defensive end of the floor. And what we've learned throughout this series is that if the Nuggets have to play transition defense, they're terrible. They're terrible at getting matched up. They're terrible when there are cross matches and when they don't get matched up on their regular assignments. And when you only score 70 points, you miss a ton of shots, a lot of missed three-pointers, a lot of long rebounds, a lot of opportunities for the Wolves in transition. And that's like where this game got out of control. Minnesota got so many easy looks from three. Naz Reid posting up Jamal Murray. They went to that mismatch a ton. Just easy runouts and lanes to the rim on fast breaks. And like when the Nuggets can't make shots, they're not a locked in enough team. They're not like a good enough team right now to get back in transition and shut the water off in the half court, you know? Like Nikola Jokic, I think, is a very good defender. He's a very underrated defender. He's way better on that end of the floor than anybody gives him credit for. But the Nuggets have to get back and set their defense for him to be good.
Yeah.
And they couldn't do that at all tonight because they scored 70 points.
Any other notes? I mean, with Jamal, I mean, what's your confidence level that he's going to be good in Game 7?
That he's going to have a 35-point game or something low, but it's can he have a moment? Like Game 5?
Against the Lakers.
No. Game 5 against the Wolves. Like Game 4, he was really good.
Yeah.
Game 5, he didn't look as fresh physically. He still managed to be good and have moments and hit tough shots and put his fingerprints on the win. And so, like, the calf is an excuse to not be great every night, but it's not an excuse to, he's got to be better than that. Like, notwithstanding, he has to be better than that. And he can be even in games where he's feeling it, right? So, I'm not counting Jamal out to have a moment in Game 7, man. This is who he is. But I don't, like, he's not getting 3 days off again, and he's not gonna magically look super fresh. He's just gonna have to find a way to dig deep and be better through sheer dogness. Luckily, that's something Murray has. So it's there's not a lot you can point to basketball-wise from that game and be like, yeah, he's ready to turn it around, but that's what he does. He finds a way, so maybe he'll have another moment. The Nuggets need him to.
How many games, I asked this of some of the people that were here in the bar tonight, how many games this year playoffs do you think Murray has scored over 25 points in the playoffs?
3 times, twice.
Maybe twice.
What'd you guess, Wind?
3 times.
I'll tell you, last year it was, I believe, let me get this right. Let me make sure I got
I'll
it
say
right.
4 times.
Last year, in 12 of the 20 games, he scored over 25. Once.
Wow.
Every other game has been below 25 points. That's not a high bar, 25 points.
Not at all.
He has a game with 24, 3 with 22, 1 with 20, 19, 17, 16, and 8. It's just wild that it's not, when we say, like, have a good game, you said 35. Well, that would be a playoff high.
That's what I'm saying. He's not going to have
a decent amount.
Right.
So,
but can he hit some big shots? Can he find a way?
And I think if you, short of that, to your point, some of what Murray has done was had timely buckets and gotten the ball to where it needed to go. Got it to Jokic, namely. And that's what I think in Game 7, more than anything else, you're going to need. We go to Michael Porter piece of this, though. 8 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block, 2 turnovers, and 31 minutes. Here's the thing with Mike. The shot making is one thing. It's now been a couple games where he just hasn't made his shots and he gets open looks. But the defensive assignments for me, like Murray not being able to put pressure on the paint and making good decisions in pick and roll, and Mike being a defensive liability this deep into a series, it's both of those things almost in equal measure right now that have me concerned.
Yeah, the last 3 games defensively, it looks like this series is going too fast for him. And that's the kind of stuff that we haven't said about Mike a ton in the last 2 years, if really even at all, even in this series where he hasn't shot well. But right now, there is some high-level basketball being played, depending on which game from one team maybe and not the other. But he seems to just be a step behind it all. And I agree, defensively, obviously you need Mike to hit shots. He's a shot maker, but if he's not going to be hitting shots, he has to be a higher floor player than he's been. And he looks lost on defense right now. He needs to be better in every facet.
It almost feels to me, Wind, like Murray came into this game thinking I got to get my jumper going, and Mike came into this game with the same thought, like I got to get. It's like, no, guys, those are the extra. You could win this game the other way, and it almost was like they were both focused. But Mike tonight seemed focused on how he could impact the game as a scorer.
He didn't seem focused on anything to me. He just came into this game with nothing, man. I mean, this was the old Michael Porter. This is the Michael Porter that gets taken out of series by Norman Powell. Just playing like a little defense. He looks timid right now, and it's weird because this is not the Michael Porter we saw all season, and even in the Lakers series where he played well. He's been taken out of this series, and look, he's got tough matchups. Jaden McDaniels is a great defender.
Yep.
Nickeil Alexander-Walker, great defender.
Yep.
But defense is where he can't let off,
Yeah.
He's making the defensive mistakes now that he made years ago.
I agree.
And I thought we were definitely past this. And it's not like the Wolves should be presenting a ton of these, problems that are too much for him on the defensive end. He's just got to be better.
You have any thoughts on Michael Porter? Not
I
really.
mean, just terrible. He's just terrible. This is 2 games in a row at least. I don't know. You just always hope when Jamal doesn't have it that Mike is going to magically step up and fill that void. He never does. He's
Jamal
always
has to play well for Mike to play well.
Yeah, but
Wasn't true in round 1, but the Wolves are a different challenge.
it's just if they get it going, the two of those guys get it going, it just changes everything. The paint is not so packed. It's like there's less reason to sag off and then crowd Jokic, and it was just a gross effort. Everything about tonight was gross. It was lazy. It was dispirited. It was just the wrong state of mind. And Mike, like Jamal, you look at a game like this, you're like, well, I know he's not that bad of a player.
Right.
This was horrible. Okay. Let's go to Sunday. Fine.
I have less confidence that Jamal's not that horrible of a player based on what we've just seen in this playoffs. I agree with you that he has more in it. We just are seeing it so seldomly in this playoffs that it feels.
But think about how we felt 3 hours ago. It's like we have everything that we need. We know that we have everything we need.
That part I agree with. But I'm saying the Murray part of this is the part that's so weird.
It is weird. It's and you do want to say it's aberrant, but it hasn't been. It's been more consistent than not. But I also know that just whenever it seems dark with Jamal, especially, is when he steps up. And I don't know that means he erupts for 35 points, but I think it means
he
that
wins.
he wins.
He wins.
The bench tonight, outside of garbage time, had 2 points. Christian Brown had a dunk, a nice power dunk. Reggie Jackson 0, Holiday 0. Now this was a game where Malone went to the bench less than typical, I think, because they were down so much. But that's this is the last bad thing, and then we're going to move on and talk about Game 7 because there's not a whole lot.
There's nothing here.
But just the bench real quick.
Sure.
One adjustment that the Wolves make is playing their starters more.
Yeah.
Because their bench has been getting killed, and as a result, Denver's bench, had a harder time. I think Denver's bench can score against their bench, but against their starting lineup, it's a little harder. That's one concern, I would say.
Yeah, and I mean, that is a red flag with this team when comparing it to last year's team. The Nuggets bench scored a lot more in the playoffs last year than it has this season. I think on pace right now, that bench last year, through however many games the Nuggets have played, they scored 40 more points than this bench has right now.
Yeah.
And that's big, man. That's a big difference for a bench. And it was pretty much all Bruce Brown, who had a couple 20-point games early on in the playoffs last year. When the Nuggets are playing well, the bench looks good.
Yep.
When the Nuggets are playing bad,
Yep.
the bench looks like the worst bench in the NBA. That's how it's been all season. That's how it's been all playoffs. And it kind of was the case again tonight. This second unit, they can't change a game.
No.
They're not going to change the momentum and a feel of a game. If they need to hold the line and just, brace for the Nuggets starters to get back on the court, they can do that, but they're not going to flip a game. The Nuggets aren't going to go on a massive run or anything with Nikola Jokic off the floor. Holding the line is what they can do, but the Nuggets aren't going to win any games this series if the starters get blown off the court like they did tonight.
For sure. I mean, you anticipate that the your bench is not going to play well on the road, which is it hasn't been that way this series. This has been the strangest series ever. But like, you expect that your bench doesn't really show up. Your role players don't really show up in big games on the road. It just is sort of like the story of the NBA. But I mean, and you know, the bench comes in, it's already completely snowballing. The starters took their foot off the gas so early. The bench comes in, they're pressing, they don't know what to do. So it's hard to analyze that as well. I mean, there's just not much analysis that you can say is like true and lasting outside of like, they just played like shit. Everyone played like shit, and they got the result they deserved.
Yeah. All right, let's take a break. On the other side, time to flush it. Let's move on to Game 7 now, because we don't have a show on Friday, so we'll move on to Game 7 now and talk about what we expect, what needs to happen, and this is the big one. There's one reason I'm really optimistic about it. Really optimistic about it. We'll get to that on the other side.
Hey, stay tuned.
Miller Lite. It was Miller time. It was not Murray time tonight at the DNVR bar, but shout out to Miller Lite.
Aggressively not Murray time.
Yeah. A lot's changed over the years. One thing that has it, the great taste of Miller Lite, the original light beer. It's still the best. It's the only light beer I drink. It's light beer, only 96 calories, but it actually tastes like light beer. Miller Lite, they have more of the taste you want, less of the stuff you don't. Perfect for any occasion. We had a watch along tonight. Rough time on the watch along. We did have Grace Marlowe in the house, which was great.
That would have been
She
cool.
must hate us, dude. We're like, hey, Grace, do you want to hang out for the worst night of your life?
I know.
I know.
Hey, Grace, we're gonna go drown some puppies. You want to come?
Luckily, we'll look really sad and be bummed out the whole time. Come hang out.
We won't help you out at all.
Come hang.
She was a great sport, though. Love her hanging out. She's welcome anytime. She knows that. But had a Miller Lite on the watch along.
Okay.
Made
Not
it go
all
by
bad.
a little better.
Not all bad.
Have one here right now as well.
Love that about you.
Miller Lite, they keep it simple. Times change. You can always enjoy the great taste of Miller Lite. Tastes like Miller times. To get Miller Lite delivered right to your door, MillerLite.com/DNVR, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories per 12 ounces.
One of the things I love about Colorado, the Denver area, every sport, all the sports. If you're feeling any particular way, like there's an event for you to go see. That includes rugby, by the way, if you didn't know. Rugby Town USA is right here in Glendale, Colorado. And the American Raptors, who play at Infinity Park, which is what I'm talking about, they're Colorado's only professional rugby team. They're back, and you can catch their games on ESPN+. You can follow along the same way you follow the Nuggets with us, with our guy Colton Strickler, who hosts the weekly DNVR Rugby Podcast. You can get that wherever you get your podcasts. The American Raptors wrapped up their 6-game homestand at Infinity Park, and they are now set to return to South America for the last 3 matches of the Super Rugby America's regular season. Don't miss out on catching the Raptors in action as they fight hard to make their final push for the playoffs in the 2024 season. Tune into ESPN Plus every Saturday from May 11th to May 25th. And for more information, please visit AmericanRaptors.com.
Kale, I just sent you a stat here that I find pretty interesting. You can bring it up. It comes from Om Youngmiksuk, covering for ESPN. This comes from ESPN Stats and Info. Largest losses entering a Game 7.
No.
How many teams have lost Game 6 by 30 plus? It's happened to 7 teams. 4 have gone on to win.
Yeah.
So, again, this series has been weird enough.
Oh, we're winning.
Well, I'm just saying, the series has been weird enough that you just feel like...
You did tell us that.
Oh my God, the game that just happened is going to happen every game. And if Denver loses Game 2, oh, they're going to get swept and they come back. Oh, they won 3 in a row. They're closing it out in 6. They get blown out. So it really is one of those things where Game 7 is going to be its own beast, man. It's just going to be its own...
It always is.
There's been a 6-game series. It's tied. And now there's going to be a 1-game series that's just come totally different. But there's one reason I'm more confident than I probably should be in this moment. Kale, go ahead and give the photo. The Nuggets threw in the towel with 9.5 minutes left. Everybody walked to the bench and took a seat except for one guy. Nikola Jokic stood there for 10 game minutes, but was probably more like 30 real minutes. After playing a full game, there was an open seat on the bench. It wasn't a matter of there's not enough seats for everybody. But he literally stood and looked like that while the entire crowd, the Minnesota crowd, just cheered. And, you know, they got chicken because Julian missed some shots. He stood and looked like that. And I'm telling you, we've watched Jokic long enough to kind of know some of the inner workings of his mind and how it works. It certainly feels to me like he was absorbing that moment for fuel.
Yep.
And he got a lot of fuel.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Very full tank.
It was almost like him standing in front of the crowd being like, all right, we deserve it. Mm-hmm. We have to just take it, you know? We have to be in this moment. We have to, feel what's happening right now. But it was also the look of a guy who... It was look of like a parent who's disappointed in his kids. And I had more hope after seeing that for sure.
Sorry.
You thought his look at there was one of disappointment in his teammates?
Yeah. It was just like
to me, it was
disappointment and like.
To me, it was just like,
all right, now we have to live with it.
I just saw it not.
Yeah.
I saw like.
I agree.
I saw him looking at this like, okay, like I'm gonna stare this straight in the face.
Yeah.
I'm not. It's like I don't think he's disappointed though. I think he's just sort of like, okay, like I'll take all of this. I'm not. Like Joel Embiid would be in the tunnel. Like Karl Anthony Towns would have retired.
Right.
Jokic stands up like a man, and he's like, okay, like let's go, let's fine.
Absorb it into your skin and into your soul.
He feels all the responsibility. He hates losing, even if he doesn't say it like that. Like all that stuff we talk about with him. When you get to talk to the people close to him, including his teammates, they'll tell you he takes it seriously. He doesn't like coming up short, and it's out of responsibility. It's like tonight. Would you say it's his fault? No, but that's not how Jokic is going to see it. The Nuggets need to be better. He's the best player on the Nuggets. He hates letting his teammates, his family, his friends down. He doesn't. That's the kind of competitor he is. And he's 3-1 in Game 7s. He's the best player in the world. Nuggets have been in more Game 7s than Minnesota with this core, this iteration. These are all reasons why I think the Wolves have earned this, pushed this to 7. They're good. Wolves fans should feel good. But you have to pick the Nuggets, in my opinion. They have the experience. They have that guy. And I'll tell you, man, just like I felt going into Game 3, if this was Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, I'd be picking them.
Right.
And it's Jokic, and I'm picking him.
Of course.
I just love him absorbing that. I feel like it was Jokic's a guy that's very present. We always talk about that. I don't feel like it's a dwelling on this or
no.
So I feel like that was a Game 7. I have to do it. What do we say? Game 5 was going to be a Jokic game.
Yep.
What was the pattern? But the closeout game now is an everyone. I honestly think Jokic approached it that way too. Of like, we're going to get a team win tonight.
That's what I mean. That's exactly the way that Jokic approached it.
Yeah.
He didn't go into acceleration mode. He didn't go into domination mode. He wasn't like in Game 5. He was taking shots he would not have taken tonight. He was just like, I'm going to shoot this.
Right.
It's going to go in. It doesn't matter really what you do. And he didn't have that tonight because yes, he was like, we are going to do this tonight. And then nobody else showed up. And, at that point, it was sort of a fait accompli very early.
I think it was they were double teaming him the whole game.
They were.
That's why everybody else was involved.
I think that this is actually a very important point. We talked about it coming in, that the Wolves might go to that strategy of just make anybody else beat you, and I think that was a large part of it. That being said, we all know that Jokic can play through that as well and be more aggressive, and I think that is probably the resignation. In my opinion, again, we're playing some armchair psychologist here.
Of course.
But of course, that's what it feels to me. The message that was being sent there was all right, I have to repeat what I had in Game 5, but do it against a defense that's going to be even more aggressive, trying to make me not capable of doing that. And look, Jokic understands the task, but I believe he's a goldfish. And the bowl he's about to be thrown into in Game 7 is probably going to be the largest one yet.
Large bowl into the ocean.
After the Nuggets lost Game 7, the last Game 7 that they've played technically at home before this next Game 7 on Sunday, there's a story where the Nuggets coaches were in their office after the game talking about the loss. They lost to the Blazers that game. CJ McCollum had a monster game to win. And Nikola Jokic knocked on the door to the coach's office and went in and told Michael Malone, I'm never going to let that happen again.
That's what I'm talking about.
And, since then, they've won 2 Game 7s, I believe. Utah and the Clippers in the bubble. They weren't in a Game 7 last year. They haven't been in a Game 7 this year. So he'll try to make it 3-0 on Sunday.
There you go. What else has to happen on Game 7?
Well, they have to shoot better from 3. I mean, that's the story of this game. 7 of 36 from 3. They got open looks, and but they need guys who are, somewhat questionable shooters in the playoffs to make some shots. You need Justin Holiday to make some shots. That's why he's out there. He didn't make any tonight. You need Aaron Gordon to probably hit a 3. Like, you need Jamal Murray to make 3s. That's where it's probably going to start.
I think you need your best defense of the season, and if you play your best defense of the season, I think you're winning Game 7. The offense, we can go in circles in this forever, but the offense does go hand in hand with the defense, especially in this series. And there's no doubt about it. Denver needs to not turn it over in the ways that are controllable. The Wolves are a good defense; they'll force some, but you can't just hand it to them. You got to win the transition battle in every aspect. You need it to happen more for you, less for them. You got to be effective in it, and I just think it's all about defense. And tonight, obviously things snowballed, but the most shocking part to me, coming out of that first timeout that the Wolves called, was how little defensive resistance there was. So that's got to be better, and I think if it is, everything else will come.
To me, it's the defense. I mean, we remember the Game 7 against Mike Conley and Rudy Gobert not long ago. What was it, 82-79 or something like that?
Yeah.
I honestly think we're in for that.
Yep,
I think there's going to be a lot of players on both teams that play him up. I would not be counting in this game heavily on KCP and Michael Porter and Christian Brown and Reggie Jackson. I mean, maybe you get something from one of those guys. Aaron Gordon from the corner. I don't know if there's a game for Aaron Gordon in the corner. I think it's going to be about which team can keep grinding out stops against all odds. And, that's the thing that was missing tonight. I feel like Denver thought that they could kind of game plan and finesse and score their way out of Game 6, and it was just not the case.
Game 5. Maybe that's why they thought it.
Because it was such a good shooting performance that they were like, okay, we're in a rhythm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is a game that if the Wolves score 100, they're winning. You're going to have to munder at Game 7. And to me, that's first, second, and third thing I look at. But you know what? While there might have been some cross signals tonight in what seemed to be Denver's priority or different players' priority, I think they'll be in alignment for Game 7 about how hard they have to defend.
You've got to think.
I think that's the thing that you can count on for this team coming into that one.
Yeah, you expect full effort is what you expect.
What kind of crowd do you think we're getting?
Oh, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be an absolute zoo like it was for Game 5.
It's going to feel like the finals. I mean, you mentioned this the other day, but it's going to feel like the NBA Finals are on the line in a lot of ways.
For sure. I mean, Game 7 at home. Look, this is the toughest series the Nuggets have played in the last couple years. It's the toughest opponent they've played. It's the best defense they've gone up against. It's, the team best equipped to stop this version of the Nuggets. It's probably, maybe the best or second best coach that they've played behind Eric Spoelstra in the playoffs the last 2 years. So both teams are going to be ready. Minnesota, they're going to have a lot of confidence coming into this game. A lot. That's probably... I'm with you, D-Line. I'm not overly concerned about this Game 6 loss because of how it happened. But what you worry about is the confidence that it just gave the Timberwolves.
Totally.
They just played an unbelievable game, man.
They did.
They played a flawless, near-perfect game. Then again, they did in Game 2 as well. So...
I mean, yeah, exactly.
I just have to think their confidence after, 3 straight losses in the series. I didn't know where it was. But now, it's definitely returned to where it was earlier on.
Yeah, I mean, the Wolves got to the, oh, shit, we could be going home place first.
Yeah.
And we saw what they look like backed into a corner, which is, what you hope from your team you would see from the Minnesota perspective. And now we're about to see what the Denver Nuggets have in that same setting. I like the team that has been there many times before and has shown you over and over that they don't falter in those scenarios. We don't know what the Timberwolves best versus the Nuggets best looks like just yet.
And we're going to get it. That's a great way to put it. I don't think we've seen best versus best yet. But I do think we see that.
Yeah.
At least defensively, intensity, focus, and execution, I think we get it.
Yep.
Shot making, we might see the worst from everyone.
Possible.
But I think we're going to get that. It's going to be a big one. I mean, look, I said this before, and I love what Vic said. When they were down 0-2, and you told him you were able to battle back and get it to Game 7, you would feel great about that,
You would
right?
take that 10 times out of 10.
You take it 10 times out of 10. Well, Nuggets are about to take it. All right, let's take a break. On the other side, we got Superstar Dev live from Target Center.
Let's go.
The magic of Dev wore off.
There's going to be too much lobster, dude. You can't eat that much lobster.
He got too high on his own
He
supply.
pushed it. Yeah, Dev. You gotta stay
Too
humble,
much
brother.
lobster, man.
This episode brought to you by Illegal Pete's. Check out our friends at Illegal Pete's. We have a location right down the street, Colfax.
Oh, man.
I was just there yesterday, actually.
Were you? Think of the buddies like you could have had if you'd seen Harrison at the Illegal
There were
Pete's.
buddies there. There were burritos. There was beer there as well. Illegal Pete's also has a location in Colorado Springs. Swing by, join the festivities, live music, endless margaritas. Of course, your favorite burrito fixings as well, located in downtown Colorado Springs. Stop by to be a part of that location's opening. Illegal Pete's is your spot for burritos, buddies, and beer. They have a lot more as well. Nachos, tacos,
Extra buddies.
quesadillas.
Double buddies.
They have a great green chili,
Oh.
a great queso as well.
Yo, get the reverse nachos. Treat yourself.
You can get the reverse nachos. You can smother that on your burrito
Holy
as well.
smokes, dude.
That's a next level order.
If you ask them nice enough, they'll just dollop some directly into your mouth.
Yeah, but you have to ask them really nice.
Very nicely.
They
You have
usually
to
say
tell.
no.
You have to tell them D-line said
Yeah,
that.
this was. Yeah, you want to get just let them know like it's false advertising.
Right.
Otherwise.
Then they'll pour it right in your mouth. Right in your mouth. Check out
What
Legal
the-
Pete's.
Strange things are afoot at the Circle K, fellas. Like memberships. Did you know they have memberships at Circle K?
What?
Yeah, you do. It's a free membership too, and it's nice and easy to download. See that QR code right there on the screen? You can scan that, enter your email and phone number to be fully enrolled. That's pretty sweet. You're gonna get some deals. One of those deals is that your first 5 Polar Pops are free.
5 free Polar Pops,
That's unbelievable.
dude. That as a child, I worked all day selling lemonade so that I could buy soda. I could have just joined the Inner Circle
Just
Rewards
join the
Club.
Inner Circle Rewards Program.
Really?
You
I think
fool.
soda's cheaper than lemonade.
It is, but it wasn't accessible to me, so I had to make ends meet.
Thirst meet your match. Enjoy your member exclusive beverage deal. Inner Circle members like you can get any size Polar Pop or Froster for just 69 cents. Nice. Now through September 3rd.
Hell yeah.
Find it
Was
in the
that
app
in the copy?
under Nice? No, it's not. Find that in the app under Inner Circle. Offers, sign up with the QR code on the screen or visit www.circlek.com/inner circle for more information on how to become an Inner Circle member.
All right, let's bring in Target Center. Dev,
Look at that.
what
guy.
happened?
I just don't know what to say, man. I think that I'm ready to admit it. I think we flew too close to the sun, man. I was having lobster and cotton candy and otter pops and
Otter Pop.
mashed potato, things that didn't even go together, man. It was just it was too much happening, man. And no, I'm not gonna lie, I don't regret one piece of it.
Well, that's why he's Superstar Dev, man. No regrets.
Stop eating so much lobster, man. Just stop.
Are you currently eating lobster? Is that what's going on right now?
No, I got some in my pocket, but I'm not gonna pull it out right now. I'm gonna wait until we get back to the hotel room. They got this
eating
bridge. I'm gonna eat
lobster.
some on the bridge.
So that crowd looked like they were standing all night. It looked like it was a great crowd there tonight, man.
Dude, this crowd is insane. I don't know if it's just because it's like on the road or like how it's set up. Like I feel like the top of the arena, like you're still very close. But they're like locked in. They're wearing the shirts. They have chants the entire time. The like entertainment that's going on. Like they're ready for this moment and they love their team. They're rooting for random guys. They love some Rudy Gobert. They love Kyle Anderson slow-mo. Naz Reid is the like most popular man in America. Like they love their team. We need more of that.
Yeah. All right, well, take us behind the scenes, man. What were people saying about this one?
Yeah, so I'll just tell you that this game was a little bit different, especially, after the game. It was different. Jamal Murray was the first one that came out, not Michael Malone. And he's usually very quick to come out, but not so much in a good mood. But you know who was in a good mood? Jamal.
Really?
That typically does not happen, especially after the game that he just had. But he was really jovial, really in a good mood. He just kind of talked about them basically not executing. That's what he said it all came down to. He said that they knew they're going to make some, they're going to miss some, but they got to play better on both ends. Speaking from experience, he said that Game 6 is always the hardest one because that team is just playing so hard. They don't want to be eliminated, so they're going to come out with some type of energy. He said that he felt like, the team was punked in this one. He said it just went both ways. They were punked in Game 2. They punked them in Game 3, and then they got punked again in Game 6. So it's about how they respond in this next one. He did get a question about if Anthony Edwards' defense was the reason for, his bad game. And he said, it was more about my elbow at this point. I was missing some open shots, but it was really more offensively for Anthony Edwards. He was scoring at the other end. Everyone on their team brought it today. But he did say that his elbow was hurting him today. He's been a player that typically has not made excuses. This one, he straight up said it was his elbow.
So
on the level of
concern,
concern,
injured?
Yep. So he injured it on the second play of the game. He did go on to say that they have 3 days off, and it's all behind them now. Got to get rid of that bad game and be better Sunday. Said it didn't feel good. He put some numbing cream on it, but he was not able to ever get back in the rhythm. Said he was very disappointed in himself and joked by saying that he hopes that he feels a little bit better on Sunday for the team's sake, that he can get right. He also was asked about, just being on the brink, being pushed to the brink. This is why we fought for home court advantage. Nice we'll get to regroup, and nice we gave ourselves a chance to win on home court. So this is a good spot to be in. They asked him if it was about the blowout not meaning as much. He said he feels that they do carry over more. When you get beat big, you have to respond in the right way, and we did that in Game 2, and then they did that. So it's all about Sunday. Who's going to win those 48 minutes? Game 7 is all that matters to them. He said that they do have to be more physical. They have to own their spots. Some games they're going to have to struggle, but they have to get some stops, and defense was the biggest thing. And he closed it out by saying that he owns the negativity. They played terrible as a team. He played terrible as a player, and he owns it completely. He feels he's going to respond in Game 7.
Well, I hope he's right. I like his confidence.
Yeah. Michael Malone, not so good of a move. He went on to talk about the runs that Minnesota went on. He said that they started off 9-2, and then they went on a 20-5 run. And during that stretch, two things stood out to him. It was the turnovers, and you can't do that with this type of crowd that was here. And the other thing was the rebounds. Said that the team played with no physicality or toughness. They got punched first, second, and third, and you just can't do that. Anytime that you go down 50, it's never a positive experience. He got asked about the shooting of threes because it just seemed that they were going to be into the shooting of threes. He said that they knew that they were going to get into that. He said at the half they took 21 threes. They only made 4. Said that they knew that the double was going to come on Jokic, and it was about generating open looks. But the thing is you have to make those open looks, and Denver didn't make those looks early on. They have to be much more aggressive, and he feels that Minnesota was more aggressive, excited, and assertive, and he felt like they were just not only making shots, but it put them in a hole to dig deeper out of. He did go on to say that Jokic stayed in the game, longer than he typically does. He started that second quarter because he just felt that the game was going to get out of their hands. They did respond and get a little bit closer, but as soon as he got on the game, another huge run. So he knew that was going to come into it. He also finished off very pissed off. He got a question about Game 7s and just how they respond in that. They asked, how do you usually respond in Game 7? He said, our experience is pretty positive, so we will just leave it at that. Do your damn homework. We did not get to see Jokic. We didn't get to see Jokic. Jokic was, he's listening to music. He's calm. He's in the locker room. I do feel like there is a sense of calmness, although it is a Game 7. I know that they're going to lock in, but this was not a team that's panicking right now. Game 7 on Sunday.
Real simple now, isn't it?
Any final thoughts, Dev?
My final thoughts is we're going to have to see more adjustments. You knew that those adjustments were coming. Guys didn't knock down shots in this one. But you have to adjust. You have to knock shots down, and it's going to be about the others. I know a lot of times we want to talk about the others and quote them as that, but if you're not going to respond, if you're not going to play well in that, that's what you're going to have to be. Nikola Jokic was the only one that showed up in this one. Jamal's going to have to be better. Michael Porter Jr. is going to have to be better. Aaron Gordon's going to have to be better. You got to play a little bit better. So this is a huge game. Everybody needs to be locked in.
Everybody indeed, including Superstar Dev. We welcome you back. Lock in. Just get one more breakfast lobster, man, before you get back.
No more breakfast lobster.
One more breakfast lobster.
Adam is tempting the fates here.
You know what? Do it.
We'll see you, buddy. Good
Just
stuff,
get a
man.
goddamn croissant or something. Jesus.
All right, let's start diving into these super chats. Then take ourselves a long weekend.
Yeah, the longest weekend.
Woodwork, they do have 3 games. Wow,
Yeah.
that's crazy. Okay, Woodworks, first super chat. I live in Minneapolis and went to the game. It was brutal to hear those Wolves in 7 chants. Feels like a missed opportunity as I could sense a nervous crowd energy at tip-off.
Thanks for the first super chat, homie.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Hey.
Man, you suffered through that. Impressive.
You know what you should do? You should fly to Denver for Game 7, just hang
Hell
out
yeah.
at the bar.
Hell yeah.
The boys' dad. The really bad part of this is that Stephen A. and Perk both picked the T-Wolves. How can a team play its best game of the season one day and its worst 2 days later?
Ask the Timberwolves. They did the same thing.
Yep.
Patriot Tex. Murray will shoot you in and out of a game. Nuggets need another consistent score to pair with Jokic. Murray way too hot and cold for me.
Murray is that guy. He just has to get there.
I know.
He
We're
is
just
that
in.
guy.
We're in spiral mode.
I
Everybody-
just don't want to talk about new pairings when there's a Game 7 left
There's
to
a
play.
game
And
7.
that's what I
man.
mean. Like, come on.
And if you win it, you're the title favorite.
You're
So
in Western Conference Finals. Cedric Exquisite, please don't miss this, Kale. Game 7, we got to come out sweet. Cedric, it's got to be $5. We've told you this, but thank you for your $5. Please don't miss this, Kale. Game 7, we got to come out swinging and win. Don't let it be like 2019 versus the Blazers. Game 7. Don't jinx that D-line. Good night.
What am I jinxing?
Hey, man, that's the thing, though, is Denver already had their
You're jinxing
2019
it.
Game 7, and then they've had 3 more Game 7s.
This is outside the bubble.
Well, that's true. That is true. CJ Jones, 100% certain Denver wins Game 7. This one was a scheduled loss. They were on pace. Well, it's a series. They were on pace to shoot 43 threes in this one. They averaged like 24, no real effort. I would bet my house on Game 7.
That's why he's my best friend.
there you go.
Is he betting your house?
No.
I'll bet my house too. It's an apartment that costs way too much. You can have it. Jason Kapp curls up in a fetal position, looks up at Adam shyly with tears in eyes, and says, Murray will play better next game, right? He has to, right?
Right.
I'll tell you this, Murray. Here's the thing about Jamal. What do we always say? He has to feel the pressure. You know what? He just was like facing death for 3 games,
You're
and then he had one game where it was like, you know what? You're not facing
Yeah.
death.
He's like, just
I know, that's why he's in such a chipper mood. He's
I need
like,
to
"We gotta
cut
play
myself
Game
to feel
7."
the pain.
Oh, yeah. He's
Totally.
like, I feel that. Look
He's
at
like,
that.
oh,
I'm
this is
bleeding.
sick. Yeah. I think my heart's beating. Traquan mourns. I ain't gonna lie. AG and Joker are playing their asses off. We need MPJ
I
and Jamal
know.
Murray to play. Men, everybody is locking them both up. I agree, Traquan. I really do.
I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's tough to be too pissed at Joker and AG ever.
No,
They're
but
playing hard, man.
They did play hard, but Joker,
KCP2 falls
Joker
in
has
that
more to
category.
give.
Absolutely.
Cole Bressler, the milkmen got milked.
Oh no,
On to the next.
That's right.
I don't like that.
Yeah, I mean,
that's rough.
You gotta pay
that's a
more
tough
money to
visual.
make me
That's a
say
tough.
that.
That's a tough visual.
5-5-5-5-5-ish. My big takeaway from this game was that Zeke and Pickett were +2 and a
Hell yeah,
45-point loss.
Yo.
Which means the Nuggets were minus 47 in the non-Zeke
Oh
Pickett
man, that
minutes.
was rough.
The answer couldn't be more clear.
I gotta say, Pickett
Looked all right.
pretty good.
I said this on the watch along. He's got a little Jalen Brunson to him. You know what?
Whoa.
Or Jalen Brunson's got a little Pickett
That's
to
true.
him.
Holy
I would describe
smokes,
Jalen
dude.
Brunson's style of play as booty ball.
Holy
Very slow,
smoke.
gets to his spot,
Deliberate.
dribbles, deliberate, and then all of a sudden it's step.
Wow. I can't believe it.
He had a great pass though. You
Hey,
guys, that
I'm
pass
not
was
kidding.
actually
He
awesome.
looked good.
I'm going to shoot you straight. I didn't watch the last 10 minutes. of
That's
this
what he
game.
does. He sets guys up.
You didn't join the picket line?
No, I was picketing this team.
Jake Fowler paying $40 to
Whoa.
say
Whoa.
fact.
Jake.
The Nuggets are 3-1 in Game 7s. Fact, the talking heads will be bashing the Nuggets over
Yes.
the next 3 days. Fact, each 3-day break has caused a shift in the
Yes.
team who won. Nuggets in
Oh,
7.
great super chat, Jake.
Really good job.
Love
I'm with
it.
Samantha
Samantha Redmond.
I
How
already
does
responded to
D-Line
this.
feel calling the Wolves fans adorable after Game 1? Now that this adorable team just delivered the Nuggets' third worst
Samantha
loss.
Redmond. Samantha Redmond, I hope you're still watching. I feel very comfortable because this is also incredibly adorable behavior
I know.
to talk shit when you haven't won. You guys keep
Well, you're
showing
missing,
that
you're
you
missing a
don't know
layer.
what you're doing.
She paid to talk shit on
You
your show.
don't know what you're doing, and it's embarrassing.
What
That's
else
the
do we
point.
got?
Like, wait until your team wins to talk shit. That's the adorable part. You still look ridiculous, and you don't realize it.
Thank you very much for the super chats.
Thanks for the $5. Adorable.
Chunk
Thank you for
Dickwell's
tuning in.
burner, $20. I can't count the amount of folks given tonight. Oh, never mind. 7 for 36. Oldie but goodie. What does a Timberwolves fan do after their team wins an NBA championship? Turn off the Xbox and go to bed. Nugs and 7. Hashtag stay on
Classic
parade.
Chunk Dickwell burner.
Classic
Chunk
Dickwell.
Dickwell is always feeling smug.
His
Chunk
burner
Dickwell
is,
never
his burner
begs
is.
to-
Yeah,
his
only his burner.
Yeah, that's
Hey,
true.
Nuggets still on parade, baby.
Rhodey, that's cool. This is all we need for the rest of the show. Big Market D-Line got Wolves fans fired up. LOL. Nuggets and 7.
I know. I love it. Big
The
market
Nick
deal.
Wright of Minnesota.
It's so true.
Patriot Tex. Nuggets need a roster upgrade at the point guard position, or they'll not win another championship. Man, there's a game 7 in there.
I
in the
know.
second
Stop
round.
it.
Let's
The,
just-
all, like the,
I know
the
he hasn't been good.
absolutist
He hasn't been
comments
good, but-
about trade him.
They're
da,
still
da.
in this one. The championship's still on the table. All the other contenders are younger and more athletic. Draft more Serbians. That part I'm not going to
Did you know there's 2 Nicolas from Serbia that will go in the first round of this draft?
Topic.
Topic, and then there's another one who's like a Paul George type,
Oh, yeah.
a wing.
I love the draft.
CJ Jones.
He's kind of a Michael Jordan type.
This
I
is
know.
a,
This guy's more of a Shaq
He
type.
seriously, he
Historically
seriously
bad
got
draft.
some shades of Paul George in his game.
historically
I'm
bad
not kidding.
draft with the Serbian Paul George. CJ Jones. Anyone else super excited to see this Nuggets team in a
Or
winner
maybe
go
it's more
home?
Middleton.
I am stoked to see it.
If the Serbian Paul George marry an American stripper,
Woo, that would, it only makes sense.
Logically, that would have to
logically,
happen.
right?
You know, how many times do we have to see games where the game plan is let Murray find his shot? He will never learn. Did it last playoffs against Phoenix too?
Oh, he's talking about that one the Nuggets won.
You're talking about the
He's
last
talking
year
about
when
that
they,
playoffs they won, yeah.
Yeah, Murray, they won a title, guys.
They did.
I mean, listen, he hasn't been good, but they're not out yet. Thomas Dowd, when Gooden goes out to the 5, Gordon goes to the 5, put Zeke in at 4 to chase Cat around and be, come on, man. And be physical and can afford to foul, keeps us longer on the floor and more physical.
Thanks to the super chat, Thomas.
Thank you,
But come
Thomas.
on, man. Come on.
Sunday is the top of the hill of this year's playoffs. I believe it should be downhill from here to another ring.
Come on.
All right,
Could
Thomas.
be. What's he saying? Like this is the peak of difficulty, and then we're
Now you're
off to
home.
the races.
You're right. This one is as difficult as Game 5 was.
Yeah.
And then after that will be as difficult as Game 4 was.
Game 6 was not difficult. It just
it was the most difficult.
well, no,
by
it wasn't the
pyramid.
most. Well, I suppose you're right. Yeah, but this wasn't difficult. It was just that they didn't play it. You know what I mean? Like
Big Honey, throughout the Yoke era, the team always plays with their best, with their back against the wall.
100% true.
you want to
Fact
know why?
check, true.
You want to know why? Nikola Jokic.
Which leads me to believe that we win Game 7. The extra day off should help Murray as well.
That is
That's right.
big.
I didn't
3
realize.
days between Game 6 and 7. There's just been just 2 games between these last couple. Or
Yeah,
2
so I
days
was
between these
wrong
last
earlier. He
couple.
does get 3 days. That should help a lot. Zayam Beg. I'm out of Magic
Zayam
the
Beg.
Gathering. Zayam, thank you.
Zame. This is my homie. That's right.
Zane. Zane Beg.
D-line's homie.
I'm at a Magic the Gathering tournament all weekend. Hell yeah, dude.
This is your
unironically
homie?
hell yeah.
Yes.
And just came back from a hopeless situation to win a match.
Oh!
I'm not remotely sober after this game,
Hell yeah.
but I learned after to never count them out after game 2. Jokic game 7, LFG.
Zamebeg, actually a very accomplished Magic the Gathering player. I don't know how that's
Do
possible.
you know what that means? It means you're really smart. I'm serious.
Really?
Yes.
Zamebeg, very smart.
Yes, the best Magic players are very, very smart people. Okay, what else do we got? Toko Geta. Jamal is the Nuggets' quicksand. The more he misses, the more the team loses their spirit. In Game 7, the more Jamal sinks more shots, the more the team sinks the Wolves' chances. LFG, hashtag Sandman
Let's
puts
go.
pups to sleep.
So somebody's sinking on behalf of Jamal is what we're.
Same again. I watched so many games during the 11-71 season and vowed
Hell
to
yeah.
always be there thick and thin.
Let's go,
This
baby.
is the best era of Nuggets basketball, and no doomer talk
Hell
after
yeah.
this game. Go Nuggets.
Dude,
Go
can Zane
Broncos.
be my friend?
Damn,
Yeah.
Zame's all of our friend. And we did look up the origin of thick and thin, and it's in reference to the forest.
The Nuggets? Oh.
when it's thin, it's easy to traverse through. When it's
Sure.
thick, it's difficult. So that's the.
Right.
Have you
That
ever
would
traversed
make
a
sense.
very
The
thick
forest
forest?
is really responsible for a lot of these.
Well,
I
I
have.
think it's like
Elk
probably.
hunting.
I think it's
Forest
actually
through the trees, thick
Yes.
and thin.
Yes. Yes. It's
I love a thin forest, though.
a thin forest.
Yeah. Custer,
Shout out to
Custer State
Manscaped.
Park. Very.
Especially if you have the Lawnmower 5.0.
DJ Seahawk, which I'm pretty sure is
forest.
just Cedric. Say it with
It
me.
is.
Nuggets in 7. Lesson learned. Don't send Dev to road games.
Nope.
Vote Adam. Guys, smile. We winning it all.
Yeah. If you were like
Wait,
a
is that
forensic.
Cedric?
Yes.
Yeah.
If you were a forensic.
account.
Yeah. You're trying to just figure out like studying like handwriting or something like. That's a Cedric super chat.
Yeah,
right?
the emojis are a dead giveaway. Coming up for
the
Sunday.
crying cat emoji.
Also,
I know.
awkwardly leaving out one of us on the show in his shout
And
outs.
to be honest, this one's really well timed from Cedric. Vote, shut up and take my money. LOL.
Cat
You know
emoji,
what?
cat emoji.
Who
Yeah,
here
that's-
thinks it all
that's a
comes down
Cedric.
to a game-winning shot? Be honest, it's my money. Don't tell me how to spend it.
That's Cedric.
Cedric, you're the best, dude.
Yeah,
What can
we
I
can't
say?
tell you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the super chats, man.
And it could come down to a game-winning
I
shot.
honestly kind of feel like it is.
and
I
it
think
could
it's
be
going to come
Murray
down to
after being 3 for 20. You know,
Who's going to take the shot?
negativity won't help anyone. This game sucked, but a Game 7 series was likely. Follow Jokic, stay calm. Remember who we are. This team is still special. We will win Game 7. We will stay on parade.
Of
Shout out
course.
CeeLo.
Of course. All we have to do is what we just did 3 games in a row.
Yep. Is that it?
All right, hit that outro music.
Oh, everybody flush the feelings that you have right now.
Flush
they are
it.
not real. They are not.
Flush it.
They're not serving
Game
you.
7,
let it
baby.
go. If you're feeling cocky as a Wolves fan, let that go too. Wait until you actually achieve something to start talking shit. That would be adorable.
Telling you, man, go spend some time with your families. Or go get away from it a little bit, kind of rest up.
Can I spend time with your family?
If you want to, build a good vibe, and then come back Sunday, because Sunday, everything on the line. Legacies will be written.
I'm already excited.
I'm ready for some
Let's
legacy
go.
games. I am as well, man. It's gonna be
Legacy games, man.
Don't drink any coffee that morning. I feel like you're not gonna need it.
Hey, you know what? I'm just gonna say it. I'm just gonna say it because I got the text.
Oh?
If the Knicks close it out, it's a 1:30 game on Sunday.
What?
If the Pacers and Knicks go
No.
to 7, it's a 6 o'clock game. So
Okay,
be prepared.
that's better.
Be prepared for a
1:30
potential
game
1:30
7? What the
start.
hell?
Be prepared for a
Matinee.
potential 1:30.
Bro, and
1:30?
there's
for
big-
the most important game of the year?
and there's a big chance the Avalanche will also play Game 7 on Sunday.
So,
So,
we're rooting
it
for
could
game
be
7 in the other
it could be a
series.
wild
That's some bullshit.
Sunday.
I'm
Go
just
Pacers,
saying.
I guess.
It's gonna be an all-timer here at the
1:30.
DNVR bar. You're gonna want to get here early no matter what. Come build the vibe with us, guys, as we watch our team battle for their lives in Game 7.
Not
Thanks
over
for
yet.
hanging out with us. See you on Sunday.
Let's go.
We all silly like the mayor.